Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a great entrepreneur on the show today. I've been waiting to get her on the show for a number of months. She's so busy with her product. It's really remarkable. You know, at DotCom Magazine, we always talk about organic things. We always talk about nature. We talk about the environment. And one thing that's very interesting in the product field, of course, are organically enhanced and natural beauty products. And it's such a big space. It's $1 billion space. So, of course, we were talking about it around the office, and we decided to reach out to someone from my hometown back in Michigan who's really knocking the cover off the ball with her Crystal Akajay skin and hair care products. She's got this great organic product. She's got a great story about how she came up with it, with her personal journey, with her own health. Jacqueline, I'm so happy to have you on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, Jacqueline, what you're doing is so amazing. Of course, Akajay spelled backwards is Jackie, and I love that so much. So let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet. Tell us what you're doing at Crystal Akajay Skin and Hair Care. And then we have so many questions that the viewers sent in and so many questions from our staff about what you're doing in this natural beauty and health and skin and hair care product program that we want to get right to it. But first, tell us about the business.
Yes, the business was created in August of 2015 as a result of me having a lot of healthcare challenges. I was diagnosed with alopecia back in 1997. I was completely bald for maybe 11 years, and I went and I spent over $30,000 or $40,000 going to various dermatologists, getting head injections, laser treatment, and none of that stuff worked. Then in 2008, my orthopedic doctor wanted to be able to perform surgery on my knees. And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm going to come up with something so I don't have to walk around limping and be in pain all day. Then in 2012, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And if you know anyone with diabetes, their skin is extremely dry. And when I started doing research before I decided to develop my own products, I realized that a lot of dry skin was the main contributor to people getting amputations from dry, cracked feet, or which allowed bacteria to set in, and then it spreads throughout the body. So as a result of that, I was a biology major in undergrad school. I said, you know what, let me go back and just start creating some of my own products. So for 2.5 years, I tested different things. I had a test group of about 10 people. I tried different products, and I asked for their feedback, and they gave me their feedback about whether or not the product worked in the condition that I put it in. And so I have made 5 changes to the products over a period of years in order to get it to where it is today. I currently have about 35 different products, 25 whip-shaped butters. So the whip-shaped butters are used by people that want to get their love life back on track, if they have dry skin, or if they just like smelling good and feeling good about themselves. Then I have hair care products that help grow my hair back, and these products have been a blessing to other people as well. Then I came up with a joint massage cream, which is my best seller right now. It's organic, and it gets rid of any aches and pains. It helps get rid of aches and pains in your body, stiffness, and any type of joint pain. In about 15 or 20 minutes after you use it, you start feeling some relief. I'm not making any diagnosis or not trying to diagnose anybody's problems, but that's based on the experience from a number of people that use the product. That's the feedback I get. Then I have a moisturizer that I had initially made for people that are diabetics. And then I changed and said, you know what? Anybody want to feel good. They want to keep their skin hydrated in the summertime. You could use it like as a screen to be out in the sun all day and you don't burn. And I enjoy making these products because not only are they helping me, but they are a blessing to other people as well.
Yeah, Jackie, it's a great story. You yourself started off with some health issues, and you were being prescribed wasn't working for you. So you went sort of to the drawing board and you said to yourself, there has to be a better way. You put some items out. I mean, you were testing shea butters and essential and natural oils and all kinds of things to see what worked. And you put them out into the hands of trusted advisors, and you kept formulating and started putting out what we call the minimal viable product. And all of a sudden, after so many iterations, you came up with something that people were just raving about. The testimonials are absolutely amazing. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. It's really amazing what you've been able to achieve with your products. Now, you mentioned your best-selling product being sort of the joint cream. What are some of the other products that people are just gravitating to in such a great way?
The moisturizer, but I'm telling you, these whip shea butters, they come in 25 different fragrances. They are for men, women, boys, girls. My customer base starts at 9 and goes up to 92. One of the men that had just died several months ago was a Tuskegee Airman. He was the oldest customer I had. He was 97 at that time when he died. And he and his wife used the product. But I'm telling you, these whip shea butters, they come in all different fragrances. They for the LGBTQ community, for anybody. I left no stone unturned. I wanted to be able to cater to everybody's needs, because everybody want to smell good and everybody got their own taste on what they like in the fragrance. And so I tried to come up with, over a period of years, with 25 things that I think people would like.
Yeah, I love it, Jackie, so much. One thing that everybody's raving about with your products is how thick they are. In other words, like, how you're able to pack all this greatness into one small little container. So how do you do that? I mean, do you have a company that's putting that together for you? Because you become famous for this very rich kind of a cream that you have.
Well, I'm in contract now working with a wonderful chemist named Cass Fry, and she's been in contact with a couple of contract manufacturers to mass produce, because I'm in contact with a couple of other major companies right now, major company like Walmart and a couple other ones that I can't really mention until we enter into a contract together. But so they want to be able to have the products produced by a contract manufacturer. Now, all of my whipped shea butters are produced in Chicago by a contract manufacturer. And so, and they took my formulation, my essential oils that I told them I want to put into each product, and they were able to run with that. So it is, without help, I wouldn't be able to do all of this on my own. But one thing that I get comments about, that people think I give people too much for their money because the packaging is too big. If I made it smaller, then I could realize more of a profit. But me, the way I think, I want to give people their money's worth, and then they're going to keep coming back. If they like the product, they're going to come back regardless of the size and regardless of how much it's going to cost.
See, I love that, Jackie. You're always putting the clients first. I mean, you're giving them so much product, so much of this richness in the product. It's a lot of product by volume compared to the cost. And that way you keep them coming back and you start building that brand loyalty. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs, Jackie, are going to be watching the show and they're going to say, wow, how does someone with a product get it into the first market? Now, you got into Meyer Rivertown market. How did you get it into the first market? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs.
It is not easy, but they have like certain requirements. So you got to make sure that when you approach the main retailer that you are prepared, which means that you have to be a certified company, either minority or woman-owned business, or that's in business. You got to make sure you have your LLC. You had to have your UPC codes, which is allow a company to be able to scan your products. You got to have, you got to make sure your EDI, which is electronic data interchange, set up. So they have several requirements, and now everybody is requiring that you do a pitch deck. So before you used to just get them a price sheet and come in and meet with a buyer. They no longer want that. They want a pitch deck. And the pitch, when they read that pitch deck, it's going to tell them everything they need to know about your company. And so rather than talking to a buyer for 30 and 40 minutes, you get 8 to 10 minutes. So you get them a pitch deck, and that pitch deck should be completely detailed, distinguishing your product for somebody else's product on the shelf. And then after that, then you have to go for it and just be able to present yourself to the person who you're talking to and make sure that you're hitting all of the key points that they're looking for and take it from there.
Yeah, I love it, Jackie. And of course, you do so much for the community in the city of Detroit and the surrounding areas. You know, how important is it as an entrepreneur?
It's very important because you got to always be able to give back. In my case in Detroit, I'm trying to start, I'm not trying to, I started a little program where I can mentor to young adults between the ages of 18 and 30, because in the Detroit area, we have a very high unemployment rate between that age group. And so I want to be able to take a couple of them under my wings, teach them how to be entrepreneur from the beginning to the end on how to do your business plan, how to set your books up, how to do the whole 9 yards, how to do the production of the products, as well as I work with this program called Angel Tree that we provide presents for kids of incarcerated parents for Christmas every year, as well as 2 organizations that house young girls that either ran away or became mothers at an early age, and they dropped out of high school to help them get back on track. So I just believe that when God bless you with knowledge and abilities to be able to do something, you reach out and bring other people in. You can't just hoard everything to yourself. You got to give back. That's very important to me.
I love it, Jackie. Of course, I consider you a Renaissance woman, a woman of the new century, a new millennium, because you're doing so much. Not only are you giving back to the community, but you're very, integrated in so many different charities and doing so much mentorship for people. And then you've got the big business that you're building, that you're about to go nationwide. Where did all that come from? Where did that drive from Jacqueline Jones come from?
It came from because I came up in an area in the city of Detroit known as Black Bottom. Our parents were extremely poor. It was 9 kids, and my dad had a little job. And so I was determined that I wasn't going to let our past determine the future. We were bullied as kids because we wore the same thing, and we were overweight because we ate a lot of beans and cornbread and stuff like that. So I said, after I graduated from high school, I wanted to go to college. I was the first in my family to go to college. So I got my associate degree. Several years later, I received a bachelor's degree. Then I kept on until I received my master's degree. And I did all of this while I was working a full-time job. And then I was operating a soup kitchen that I set up years ago when we were going through times kind of like they are now, where people didn't have enough food to eat or people were not working at that time. So I set up a soup kitchen and operated that. But I always had an entrepreneur spirit. I started having a boutique shop, I think maybe like the mid-'80s. To like 1999 when I closed up. Then after that, I operated transportation company, a landscaping and lawn care company, and a cleaning company. And so, but none of them prepared me for doing this. As a result of me having the health issues that I talked about earlier, I decided to do this. And this is a passion for me because I'm not only just helping myself, I'm being a blessing to so many other people and helping them with different issues that they have as well. And I get joy out of doing that. I love it.
I love it, Jackie. Of course, you have big things on tap for the merchandise. You're talking to some of the big box stores. Some you can't really even talk about because you're under a confidentiality
because they don't want you talking
agreement
about it until you actually sign an agreement with them.
That's right. That's right. We're going to have you back on the show after you ink that deal because we want to talk about it. But when you deal with the big box stores, okay, without going into, anything confidential because we don't want to hurt any of your chances, what was the thing that surprised you most about starting to integrate or discuss or talk to the people at the big box stores? What was the thing that surprised you the most?
The thing that surprised me the most was the amount of money they expect to share, that they want from you, and all of the requirements. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of analytics. It's a lot of different steps that you had to do. And so that was surprising because I pitched to Walmart back in 2018, and we drove for 17 hours from here to get down to Bentonville, Arkansas. And they liked my product, but what they told me that I wasn't charging enough. And then when they said, but we want you to reduce your costs. But on one hand, you say, I'm not charging enough. Then the other hand, you say, my production cost is too high. So, and I've been working on trying to get that down since 2018, and I haven't had success on getting the production cost down.
Well, yeah, of course, you put so much great ingredients in your product. I would imagine that's a challenge, and you.
Well, it's a challenge because they all are organic products and organic ingredients. And you're going to pay way more for organic, but I didn't want alcohol. I didn't want water in any of my products. So none of my products contain any of those things. It doesn't contain any animal fat, no parabens, nothing. It's that's all organic. And anyone know when you get anything created in the United States, it's going to cost you more.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And, this is such a great story. We're going to put some photos of your products up on the screen during the interview, of course, so people can see the beautiful packaging, of course, and what everybody's talking about. But Jackie, when we think about entrepreneurship, we have a lot of younger entrepreneurs that are watching the show that, they're hitting a roadblock. Sometimes they hit a pothole in the road. Sometimes they hit a wall. They don't know how to react. Can you give some advice to the younger entrepreneurs based on your experience about what to do and how to get through those tough times?
Yes, I'll be happy to do that because the main thing is that you have to have commitment. You have to be diligent. You have to be focused. You got to wipe out going to parties. You got to stay focused on what you need to do. It's not going to happen overnight because it's a process, but you got to stick with it. And if you don't want to devote 8 or 9, 10 or 12 hours a day to developing and growing your business, then being an entrepreneur is not from you because it's not a 9-to-5 job. You don't always get your rewards right away. It may take you a month or two to make any money, sometimes even longer than that. When you make your money, you got to turn back around and reinvest it into the business. So if you think that you're going to go in business in January and by June, you're going to lay on a beach somewhere or buy a train or a plane, that's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. The main thing is you got to be committed and you got to be prepared for what you want to do. And you got to do your due diligence. Everything is not for everybody. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And so because it's not easy and it does require commitment and diligence, then you got to do an assessment of yourself and ask whether or not this is something I want to do as a hobby or if it's something I want to do as a business.
Wow, that's great advice. And of course, Jack, you mentioned a little bit about your upbringing. You had multiple children in the household. You wore the same clothes. You got made fun of and bullied. And then here you are, you're raised up and, you've got so many degrees. I've stopped counting after 3, I think. What was the lesson? What was sort of the main lesson that you received from the people, from your mom and dad? What were the lessons that kind of you took with you about life and why it was so important for you to keep raising up? And then, of course, as you're raising up, raising others with you as you go up.
What happens when you come from a big family and you're poor, you realize that you don't want to be that way for the rest of your life. So you figure out for yourself what you want to do to improve your life and don't fall into a rut that, oh, I'm going to go out and sell drugs or I'm going to go rob a bank or I'm going to be in prison. You think about ways that you want to live your life so that you be not only a blessing to yourself and a blessing to others. And so our parents instilled that in our life. Don't ever expect anybody to do anything for you that you're not doing for yourself. So from that, I learned, and my daddy drilled that in our head. Don't be complacent and don't be lazy. Go work for what you want, and you will eventually be able to have anything you want. And I believe that. And so I've tried to live my life that way.
I love it. I love it. Of course, you mentioned one of the airmen was using your product and absolutely loved it. Let's talk about that. Did you have a relationship with him? And what was that like, selling your product to, a famous sort of, person that's so honorable that helped the country in such a big way?
Yeah, what happened, I was set up as a vendor at an event. And so he and his wife came by and they asked me, well, do you have any hope for us? I said, I've got something that's going to get y'all love life back on track. So I want you to try this. So I gave him a fragrance for a male and I gave her a fragrance for a female. On Monday, this was on Friday. On Monday, they both was on the phone talking to me. They say, you know what, we've been chasing each other around the house all weekend. You are right. We both smell so good, we can't keep our hands off of each other. So the next week I was doing the radio show and I asked them would they come on and be my guest. And they said yes. So when they started talking about how long they had been married and that this cream that's did it for them, when they put it on and they said it did exactly what you told us it was going to do. It not only did it smell good, when we took a shower and put it on, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. We haven't been doing that in years. So they kept going on, and it was just so funny and amazing that they were able to come on and talk about that, because it's letting people know that in lieu of divorce, try something different in your life that may make you feel better and do something that you never done before. So wow. I really enjoyed it, and I hate that he passed away. But it was wonderful being able to meet and talk to someone like that.
Yeah, that must have been an absolute honor. Now, before I let you go, and of course, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time today. You're so busy, of course, attempting to, expand your business, which you're going to be very successful at because everybody loves the product. And you have the secret ingredient. When someone loves a product, then you've sort of moved in the right direction as an entrepreneur. Now you just have to expand the product because so many people love it. Let's talk about the hair products. I mean, you've got these hair growth products, or these hair thickening oils. This sounds very fascinating. Right. Some of the testimonials are remarkable about your hair products, Jackie.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. Well, I was able to grow my hair back after a period of time because I was bald at least 11 or 12 years, and I cried every day. I prayed. I don't know if you're a religious person, but I believe in the power of prayer because it does help. And so I wanted to be able to be a blessing to other people. And so I just started going out, showing people before pictures and after pictures before I had a major fire at my house and all of this stuff got destroyed. But I wanted to be able to show them that if you believe and you have faith, and faith is more important than anything else, that you have faith that you can achieve and you could do it, then it will happen for you.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
But last year, for 2020, because we were bullied as kids and my sister died trying to lose weight and be thin. And when I became a diabetic, I started losing weight. But I wanted to be able to help out other people from this. So I had a patent. I had designed this 5-piece body wrap. And the purpose of that was to help you sweat off inches. That's in the confines of your house, not going to gym and being fat shamed or out riding your bike like I used to do when people calling you fat and you need to be ashamed of yourself. I designed this body, 5-piece body wrap. I got a patent on it in 4 months. They told me it would be a year and a half, and it wasn't. It took them 4 months to approve it. And here's what it looks like. And so I want to be able to put it out on the market. It's very expensive to do that because anything you do in the United States, it just costs so much money, more money than it would if you send it abroad. But then the risk you take when you send it abroad, that they're going to steal your idea and put it out there on the market. While you try to do it, they're going to get it done. And so that's been my major dilemma, and I won't rest until I'm able to get this on the market.
Wow. Everything you do puts the person or your client first. You care so much about them. You care about their health, their beauty, like you mentioned, their love life as well. And certainly what you're doing is changing lives all throughout the country, certainly in Michigan and the Detroit area, and soon to be nationwide, and we hope worldwide. Jackie, this has been a great interview. I'm going to bring you back on the show again because there's so much to unpack with your success, from starting early all the way through. What's going on through the mind of Jackie Jones as she's going through this process to start building a company, coming from the place that you came from, and now mentoring and helping others. It's a beautiful journey and a beautiful story. Thank you so much, Jackie, for cutting out some time for us today. This has been remarkable. For anybody interested, reach out to Jackie. We'll put all the links below the interview. Jackie, thank you so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight.
And thank you for having me. I truly have enjoyed this.